What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel, and it's time to give you my New Year's Six Bowl projections for Week 11 of the 2023 college football season. Week 11 is already pretty much underway. We did have one Power 5 game last night. We had Louisville versus Virginia. We'll talk about that game in just a little bit, but what a game that was last night. I do have Louisville in this video, so I'm going to talk about Louisville in just a second. But this is where, the upsets usually start to happen, and this is where the New Year's Six Bowls kind of start to shake things up, and also the playoff things kind of shake up there as well. And this is the month of November. Usually upsets happen and a lot of close games happen here, but we got 3 weeks to go here, so we're going to give you my New Year's Six Bowl projections for Week 11. And again, how this video works, we're mainly just focusing on 4 out of the 6 New Year's Six Bowl games, because 2 of the other New Year's Six Bowls are playoff semifinal games. And again, the New Year's Six Bowls are not like last year. They're a lot different. So let's get right into it. We'll give you my playoff projections from yesterday. We'll include those playoff, semifinal games in the other New Year's Six Bowls. And if you haven't seen my playoff projections from yesterday, go back and watch that video and see who I had projected going into the playoff as we head into Week 11. So let's get right in my New Year's Six Bowl games here, my New Year's Six Bowl projections for Week 11 of the 2023 college football season. So we'll start with my playoff projections from yesterday. In the Rose Bowl, I still have this matchup. I still got Michigan versus Florida State as my number 2 versus number 3 matchup. I feel like this matchup is going to happen. I have really big confidence that this matchup is going to happen at the end of the year. And also, I'm basing these New Year's Six Bowls off of how I think is going to play out for the rest of the year. Like, these last 3 weeks of the season, who do I have winning out and going to their conference championship and also making it to the playoff? I do have confidence that Michigan is going to win against Penn State tomorrow. I mean, definitely that's going to be a very big-time test for this Michigan team. A lot of the, off-the-field issues and everything, a lot of the, chaos that's happened for Michigan. But Michigan hasn't really played a tough schedule. They don't really have, like, a big-time win over a really good team. But they have an opportunity to do that, against, Penn State tomorrow. So if they do win, at Penn State tomorrow, that's going to be definitely a huge win. And we know that Michigan is no fluke. But as of right now, I got Michigan going to the college football playoff. I got them winning, their Big Ten championship game. I have them winning out for the rest of the year. And I also have them beating Ohio State at the end of the regular season. I still think they're going to win that game. Even though if they don't beat Penn State, I still think they're going to win it. But, I could change my pick as we get into the later part of the season, as we let it, go into these last 3 weeks. Florida State on the other side, I think they're going to win out, go to the ACC championship. When I look at that Florida State and Louisville game, I think that's definitely going to be a tough one for Florida State. But as of right now, I am favoring the Seminoles in that game to win and go to the ACC championship, or actually win the ACC championship and then go to the college football playoff as an undefeated team. And again, this is a matchup I would love to see here in the playoff semifinals. Michigan and Florida State both have really good offenses. I think defensively, Michigan has the advantage there. But again, I do feel confident that this matchup is going to happen at the end of the year. And like I said, I think both of these teams win their conference championships and go to the college football playoff. This is my number 2 versus number 3 matchup in the Rose Bowl. And then yesterday in the Sugar Bowl, my number 1 versus number 4 matchup, I made a change here. So last week I had Ohio State here in the playoff. I had them going in there as an 11-1 team. Georgia, I still got them winning out, going to the SEC championship and beating Alabama in the SEC championship and getting in here as a number 1 seed. And then Oregon, they've just been impressing me, the last few weeks. I think they've been definitely better than Ohio State. Ever since that loss to Washington, they've been definitely better as a team. And I think Oregon has a chance. I think they have a chance to make the college football playoff as an 11-1 team, but not just as an 11-1 team. They have a chance to win their 12th game, in the Pac-12 championship. As of right now, I think Oregon could probably win that game, but, I'm going to probably make a prediction on that game as we get into the conference championships and everything. But don't sleep on the Pac-12. Things could probably shake up. Maybe Oregon probably slips up somewhere. Maybe Washington slips up. Maybe against Utah tomorrow night, but we'll have to find out when that game kind of happens. But again, I do have confidence that Oregon probably could make the playoff perhaps at the end of the year. They have a really good chance to do that. I mean, obviously they have a win over Utah in the regular season, but if they do beat Washington in the Pac-12 championship, they're automatically going to get in because Texas, they're ranked just right behind them. And I think there's no way that Texas can pass Oregon just because of the resumes. But Texas has a better resume than Oregon, but I just think overall Oregon is going to get in there because the committee is going to put them in there either way. But, just a lot of contenders here in these playoff predictions and everything. It's going to be very tough for the committee to see who they'll put in. But this is who I had in my number 1 versus number 4 matchup yesterday, Georgia versus Oregon. This would be a rematch from the regular season from last year. Of course, Georgia dominated the game and everything, but Georgia had a pretty good defense. I think Oregon would match up with Georgia this time, but I think Georgia is still going to win this game regardless. But again, Oregon, I have very big confidence now in them that they can make the Pac-12 championship and also win it, not just, say to make it in, but also win it, and then possibly get in there as a 12-1 team, and they would be the only one-loss team in the playoff, top 4 standings. So, again, this is who I had in my Sugar Bowl matchup, the Georgia Bulldogs versus the Oregon Ducks. Let's now get to the regular New Year's 6 Bowls now, 4 out of the 6 New Year's 6 Bowls, and we'll start with the Cotton Bowl. So I made a change here in the Cotton Bowl. I got Ole Miss here and then Penn State here as well. Ole Miss, I think they're going to make a New Year's 6 Bowl here as the 3rd best team in the SEC. I don't think there's anybody else, in there that can probably get into a New Year's 6 Bowl. Oklahoma, I don't really have any confidence now in them that they can make it to New Year's 6 Bowl now, based off of those 2 straight losses. And also, these are going to be based off of the playoff rankings. Ole Miss is sitting there in the top 10. I think they can likely make it to a New Year's 6 Bowl because they're ranked in the top 10. And then Penn State here, I still think they get in regardless. Even if they do lose to Michigan, they can still get in there as a 10-2 type team because after that Michigan game, if they do lose that game, I think they're going to win out and go to a New Year's 6 Bowl like they did last year. And again, their 2 losses last year were both to Ohio State and Michigan, so I think they can possibly get in there. But this is a matchup I would love to see, Ole Miss versus Penn State. Again, I made a change here. I had, Texas, or actually, I had Oklahoma here last week, but based off of them losing now 2 straight weeks in a row, don't really have confidence that they're going to make it to a New Year's 6 Bowl now. So this is who I had in my Cotton Bowl matchup. It's Ole Miss versus Penn State. We go to the Fiesta Bowl. I still got the same matchup in this one. I got Washington and Tulane. As of right now, like I said, I'm picking Oregon to win in the Pac-12 championship against Washington. And I think Washington is going to, get knocked out of that number 4 seed, and they'll probably end up in a New Year's 6 Bowl. I think, they'll probably be in there as a 12-1 Pac-12 type team. They'll be that, 2nd best team in the Pac-12. And then Tulane here, I still think Tulane is going to be the only Group of 5 team that can get it to a New Year's 6 Bowl. Air Force, I did have them in the Fiesta Bowl a couple weeks ago, but then I changed my pick from last week. But then Air Force just lost their first game this past weekend to a really terrible Army team. And I think Tulane, with them being ahead in the playoff rankings, ahead of other teams, I think I have confidence that Tulane is going to get to a New Year's 6 Bowl for the 2nd straight year in a row. They did that last year. They defeated a Pac-12 team in USC. And again, Washington, I do have them losing the Pac-12 championship right now. But again, I could probably change my pick once we get into those final playoff rankings and also get, into the later part of the season. But again, as of right now, I like Oregon, what they've been doing. I think they have been performing so much better than Washington. But don't get me wrong, a big win against USC on the road this past weekend for Washington. But again, Washington and Tulane here, I still got this one being my Fiesta Bowl matchup. Moving on, we got the Peach Bowl, and I made a change here. I got Texas and Ohio State. So a lot of people are, projecting that Texas and Ohio State will meet here in the Peach Bowl, which I think could likely happen. Texas, they probably win out, go to the Big 12 championship, and possibly win it. But they're not going to pass an Oregon team that just won the Pac-12 championship. They're not going to pass either, Pac-12 team, either if Washington or Oregon's going to win it. They're not going to pass them because Texas, is behind them in the playoff rankings, and that just doesn't make any sense either. Texas probably should be ahead of Oregon. Alabama probably should be ahead of Oregon as well. But the playoff committee does like Oregon. Obviously, I think I've been liking Oregon, to be honest, these past few weeks. Obviously, they're winning really big games, but not big games against really good teams in the Pac-12, but they've just been winning in blowouts. But again, Texas, they're not going to pass Oregon to get to the playoff in any way as a 12-1 team. Even if they win, they the Big 12 championship, they're still not going to get in there. It's just not really possible that the playoff committee is going to rank Texas ahead of them. And then Ohio State, I do have them going 11-1 for the rest of the year. I think that one loss does come to Michigan. I mean, this is an offense that's not been very good this year. And, this past weekend they were down by 2 points against Rutgers, which really was shocking to see. Defensively, they held their ground in that second half. But when I just look at Ohio State now, I think Michigan is going to win the game. I don't think it's going to be a very easy game for Michigan to win, but I just think, looking at Michigan this year, they have been more dominant than Ohio State, even though Ohio State's played like a tougher schedule than Michigan. But Michigan, I just think, overall talent-wise, I think both of these teams are pretty even. But again, Michigan, experience-wise, they have the more experience of a team. And again, Ohio State just hasn't been really consistent on offense. But I do have comments that this matchup could probably happen. Texas and Ohio State here in the Peach Bowl. Let's now go to my last New Year's Six bowl game. And that is the Orange Bowl, and I still have the same pick here. I got Alabama and Louisville. I do have Alabama, like I said, winning out, going to the SEC championship, and losing to Georgia. But like I said, when I look at that game between Alabama and Georgia now, I could probably change my pick. Alabama might have a chance to beat Georgia after all, because based off of what they've been doing the last few weeks, they had a big win over LSU this past weekend. That was a big win for them. If they continue to perform like that, Alabama's going to have a really good opportunity probably to, beat Georgia in the SEC championship. I don't think Alabama's going to make the playoff, though, because, again, they're right behind Texas and Oregon. And I just think there's no way that if Oregon wins the Pac-12 championship and if Alabama wins the SEC title game, they're not going to pass Oregon or Texas if they win their conference championships. But, again, this is a really good Alabama team. I've been very impressed with them now in the last few weeks. I've been impressed with Jalen Milroe, his performances. And then Louisville here on the other side, big win against Virginia. Not like a big blowout win, but it was just a really close win for this Louisville team. I thought offensively they performed pretty well in the first half, but second half Virginia came out there and scored 21 unanswered points in that third quarter, and the game kind of got interesting from there. And also that Virginia player that went down yesterday, my thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. That was a really brutal hit. But again, the fourth quarter was very competitive between those two teams. Louisville, after that win last night, they're still in my New Year's Six bowl projection here. But I tell you what, if they would have lost last night to a really terrible Virginia team, they definitely would have been out of my New Year's Six bowl just because of that loss. But again, who would move on into the New Year's Six bowl if Louisville did lose, to a Virginia team? Because that would just be a big loss for them on the resume. And, maybe North Carolina could probably sneak in there, but I don't really have confidence in North Carolina because they're coming off 2 bad losses as well. So, yeah, the ACC doesn't really have like a playoff contender except for Florida State. That's the only team that can probably get in there as an ACC team. Louisville, I don't think they're going to make the playoff, to be honest. I do have them losing the ACC championship as of right now. But again, when Louisville plays like a bad team, I think they're not really good against that team. They were not good against Pittsburgh. They did lose that game. Pittsburgh's been having a terrible season. And then Virginia, the 2 worst teams here in the ACC. It just seems like when Louisville plays like a really bad team, they're just not really good. But when they play like a good team, they're really good. But, Louisville just overlooked Virginia last night, so I think that's the reason why that Louisville kind of struggled. But plus, this is the month of November. Upsets will happen, and also some close games are going to happen as well. But again, I do have confidence that this matchup is going to happen here in the Orange Bowl. Again, I have Alabama as the second best team in the SEC, and then Louisville here as the second best team in the ACC. So both of these teams, if they do lose their conference championship, one of them wants to end out the year of 2023 very strong. But again, this is my Orange Bowl matchup. It's Alabama versus Louisville. And those are my Week 11 New Year's Six bowl projections for the 2023 college football season. Let me guys know what you think about these New Year's Six bowl games for Week 11. Give me your New Year's Six bowl games down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports Channel.